Hi guys, welcome back to What the Horror, the channel where we talk about horror movies old and new. So, as I'm sure you saw from the title of the episode, today we are talking about Rob Zombies The Munsters. Rob Zombie, having been a lifelong fan of the original TV series from the 60s, had always wanted to make a film adaptation out of it, and honestly, I think it was a really good pairing. In theory. Zombie is known for his love of classic horror and apparently really knows the original material. However, I personally don't think this is the film adaptation we were hoping for, or certainly not the one I was hoping for. Don't get me wrong, this isn't a terrible movie, but it's just not a good one either. It's just okay, adequate. I think what's most interesting about The Munsters is how this is not the type of movie we have come to expect from Rob Zombie as a director. The Munsters is rated as a family-friendly movie, and Zombie's usual dark dialogue, profanities and violence are nowhere to be seen. So if you're not usually a fan of his movies because of this, and you tend to avoid them, then know that this movie is family-friendly, and if you're looking for a cheesy, easy watch with some gothic aesthetic, then it's probably worth a watch, but don't go in expecting too much. Okay, so I'm going to get into the positives and negatives of the movie now, so spoilers will be included from this point on. So let's start off with the positives. The first and main one being that this is a gorgeous looking movie. The set and costume designs are incredible. I loved all of the details to the outfits and the gothic interiors of the locations in Transylvania in I'd say the first 2/3 of the movie. And the Munsters house from Mockingbird Lane was perfectly recreated, and it was lovely to see that again in both colour and then in the black and white segment at the end of the movie. And while the Transylvania stuff at the beginning of the movie didn't, for me, completely feel like it felt like the Munsters, I did enjoy this world that they created, especially as it included so many things from Universal/classic monster stories. I mean, I wasn't, if I'm honest, the biggest fan of the Nosferatu character, but the iconic image of him being in the movie was really cool. You've also got the wolf and the gypsies from the Wolfman, and Lily's Uncle Gilbert is literally the creature from the Black Lagoon. They even watch the movie with him, and he has all the movie memorabilia around his home. And then the creation of Herman Munster follows the story of the creation of Frankenstein's monster, even down to the wrong brain being gathered by the dim-witted sidekick. As this movie acts as a prequel to the TV show, it also explains and shows how certain things from the show came to be. And while I didn't love all of them, which I'll get into in the negatives, I did love some of them, like Igor the Bat, the Cuckoo Clock, and how they got their pet Spot. As far as the casting goes, I think that Daniel Roebuck as the Count, or Grandpa as he's known in the series, is the best performance out of the Munster family. He does a perfect job of balancing the mannerisms of the original, but also just now and again adds in his own little touches. And personally, I think Sherry Moon did a pretty good job as Lily. It's one of the best castings of her in Zombies movies. She fully knows what movie this is and leans completely into the cheesy schlock. She is trying to it feels like she's just trying to emulate the original Lily, especially in the eyes and the hands. She's always got her hands up like this. But for me, I think that it works. Okay, let's move on to the negatives. And the first one actually ties into the last positive, and that is that I personally don't think Jeff Daniel Phillips is that good as Herman. I've read online lots of people think he is one of the best performances, but I think that the casting was off with that one. I mean, yes, it's going to be difficult to live up to Fred Gwynne's Herman, as he had the most perfect deep voice for this large giant character, but for me it's more than that. This Herman just feels like a different person. He's not really this lovable dim-witted guy anymore. Here he's more confident and kind of full of himself in some scenes. It's hard to explain, but he just has this cockiness to him. Another negative for me is that the pacing in the movie is a little off. Well, a lot off, to be honest. The story feels very disjointed and jumps forward really quickly without it feeling like a lot of time was given to each part of the story. There's this subplot of Lily's brother Lester trying to get the house deeds from his dad and sister, as a debt payment to the gypsy Zoya. It pops up and then there's absolutely nothing to do with it for ages. To be honest with you, I even forgot about it for a while, but then it just randomly pops up again with Herman signing over the house deeds for just some random reason. I just figured that the subplot was there to explain how the Munsters would eventually end up living in the suburban house on Mockingbird Lane that's in the TV show. But I just wasn't interested in this part of the story. On the surface, this could be the focus of the film, joint with Lily and Herman meeting. You know, the Munsters are faced with the risk of losing their home, and we see how they deal with this and how they overcome it. But it's just this tacked on bits that unfolds in the strangest paced way. This is supposed to be a prequel to the show, so we don't have the cousin Marilyn, we don't have the son Eddie, and I do get that they're setting things up that will line up with the show by the end of the film. Like, the film will come and then you can watch the rest of the show, but it just does it all in a very odd way. Like I said, the plot just jumps around a lot. It very quickly covers Lily being frustrated by bad dates. It then jumps to and quickly covers Lily and Herman dating. Then it jumps to them being married and on honeymoon. And during all of this, there's the shoehorned subplot of Lester, and that subplot actually comes to a head while Lily and Herman are on honeymoon. Grandpa, or the Count, turns up in Paris, tells them that they've lost the house, and we see literally maybe 1 or 2 scenes where they're actually distraught about the thought of losing their home, and then they try to prevent it from happening. But then, in a blink of an eye, they're over it, they've accepted it, and they decide to up sticks and move to California for some reason that Herman suggests, and this is how they end up on Mockingbird Lane. But this all happened a lot sooner in the movie than I thought it would. I mean, at this point, there's still a chunk of the movie left. Another thing that changes with the click of a finger is how, in the beginning, the Count is very much the head of the family, and he really dislikes Herman and doesn't want him to marry his daughter Lily. And then suddenly, even though it's his fault that they've lost the deeds to the house, Herman suddenly decides that the whole family is moving to California and that will fix their problems. And then he becomes the head of the family, making all the decisions, and the Count just accepts it and then settles into the grandpa role that we know from the show. I was really confused by a scene towards the end of the movie where Herman freaks out about the neighbours and how they look. They all look prim and proper with perfectly mowed lawns and neat tidy blonde hair tied up with ribbons. And yeah, okay, I get it. I get it's a play on the whole people being freaked out by how the Munsters look. And maybe that would work if they hadn't earlier in the movie gone on honeymoon to Paris, where surely everyone would have looked like that. So they've seen people that look like that. And the ending is a lot random. After freaking out about the neighbours, the brother Lester shows up again. I mean, how did he know where they now lived? But anyway, he turns up and gives them a load of money that he got in Vegas, which was a throwaway comment of his earlier in the movie. And they jump up and down in slow motion, and that's how it ends. I personally thought maybe they'd end it with them being pregnant with Eddie. The film is clearly supposed to be a love letter to the Munsters and for fans of the Munsters, but there are a lot of things here that just didn't feel like the Munsters. The humour, for one thing. I mean, I did giggle once or twice, I'm not going to lie, there were some funny bits in it, but this is not the humour of the show. And you may well say, and probably I am, that I'm comparing it too much to the show, but even off of its own back, I can't imagine that this is too many people's humour. It's all dad jokes and one-liners.
Greetings from Transylvania!
I'm not really sure what people would think of the film if they haven't seen the TV show, because I found a lot of my enjoyment came from the nods and references to it. I would love to know, if you've seen it but you haven't seen the show, what you thought of it. Did it flow and did it make sense for you? Look, I think Rob Zombie has a great eye for shooting a scene, and he frames and lights a lot of this movie beautifully, but I just feel like his writing is where his strengths fail. Usually, my favourite horror directors are those that both direct and write, where you can see and feel their visions in every aspect of the movie. but that just isn't the case for Rob Zombie. Great director, weak writer. Overall, guys, I would say that The Munsters is schlocky and cheesy with a badly paced plot, but isn't as bad as I thought it may have been after seeing the trailer. It's an easy watch that is visually a treat. While I was reading other people's reviews of the movie online, I saw that quite a few people say that they wished Zombie had put his usual style on it and made it a more adult rating. Personally, I'm glad he stuck to the family-friendly approach. I think that a lot of people would have been unhappy if he had made it more violent. So that's my review of Rob Zombies The Munsters, but I would love to know your review. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to know what you all thought of it, and if you haven't seen it already, is it one that you think you will check out? In the meantime though, thank you as always for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Bye guys.